Welcome to Vape News Radio, the voice of vaping. In each show, we share the latest about regulations and things you need to know, plus upcoming conferences and fests, along with interviews with the movers and shakers in this fabulous vape space. Are you looking to get into this ever-expanding marketplace? Do you want to master this industry? Listen up as Norm Bauer, the Vape Mentor, shares it all. And here's your host, Norm Bauer.
Welcome back. This is Vape News Radio, the voice of vaping. This is show number 5. Can't believe it, guys. I remember when I was getting dialed in for show number 1 back in April, and here we are, 60 days plus later. And thank you so much. Our view count is going up every week, every month, and thank you so much for that. Our goal is by Labor Day to be having 10,000 downloads a month. So please, if you like what you hear, share the story. And for those of you who would like to be a guest, what we're going to do is we're going to be interviewing anyone and everyone that has an interesting story. Whether you are an advertiser, whether you have a shop, online business, an affiliate program, whether you're supplying some type of accessories, we'd like to talk to you. So just go ahead and give us a call at 949-495-6162 or send us an email at norm@vapementors.com. Part 3 is it's sponsored by Aqua Vapor. E-cig companies are popping up everywhere, but none can compare to Aqua Vapor with nearly 7 years of experience in the industry as far as the largest selection of quantity e-cig products and accessories. Why go anywhere else? Why indeed? Aqua Vapor has the authentic brand names you want at competitive prices, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff is available to assist you with all your beginner or your advanced vaping needs. Mention Vape News Radio to receive an additional 10% off our already low prices. You can give them a call at 888-782-0167, or you can go online at getmyecig.com or visit one of their retail locations. All right, so we're going to finish up the show with an interview with an organization called AEMSA. That's AEMSA. And what this organization is all about is it's a clearinghouse, if you will. They are kind of like monitoring the standards and practices of people in the electronic cigarette industry, especially when it regards to the liquids itself. So AEMSA stands for the American E-Liquid Manufacturing Standards Association. So again, Linc Williams and Lou Ritter are the two men behind it. I'd already met Lou before, but I had never met Linc, even though he had exchanged a couple of emails with me. So I had the distinct pleasure of sitting down with Lou and with Linc at the same time, and so we're going to go ahead and play this interview. So again, this is the AEMSA organization. It's a nonprofit organization, and they are designed to make sure that the people who are manufacturing are doing it the right way. So stick around. Just go ahead and roll that tape, Paul. Well, today I'm absolutely pleased to have not just one, but both founders of AEMSA. That's AEMSA. We have Lou Ritter out of Sedona, Arizona, and Linc Williams, soon to be out of North Carolina. And rather than me tell you exactly what AEMSA is all about and what they do, I'm going to go ahead and let them do it. So we're going to start off with Lou. Lou, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Norm. AEMSA is the American E-Liquid Manufacturing Standards Association. It's a professional trade association, a nonprofit, 501c6, and it's made up of e-liquid manufacturers from around the United States that have come together. We've gotten three very highly qualified and credentialed subject matter experts, including Dr. Konstantinos Varsalinos, an accredited laboratory that specializes in nicotine analysis, is enthalpy analytical, and a PhD organic chemist with over 30 years professorial experience, Kurt Kistler, who's been very active in the vaping community and advocating for safety and professionalism and standards. So our manufacturers have come together and created self-regulation with science-based professional standards that are very, very close to approaching GMP qualifications. We've got some work to do on documentation, but we've spoken with some GMP specialists, and they feel that our standards are very close into that direction. And we cover everything from the quality of the nicotine, and we have very specific limited impurities content. All these standards are listed right on our website. They're a downloadable PDF. We have content accuracy verifications for quality control analysis of final product. We get into the manufacturing environment, the quality of the various ingredients with evidentiary documentation, laboratory environment, standard operating procedures. It's quite an extensive list.
Sounds like it.
But we're very excited about it, and we've become very active in the advocacy world. We've met with the FDA on 4 different occasions with presentations. We've met with OMB OIRA. We've got a 15-page document that's on the WhiteHouse.gov website, and we're now being invited around the world. We've been invited to speak for the 3rd time at the Tobacco Merchants Association. This year, Mitch Zeller, the director of CTP of FDA, will be speaking as a presenter along with many other very high-level, very well-credentialed professionals. And we've also been invited to the first Global Nicotine Forum in Warsaw, Poland, to speak, which is a science conference. So we're very excited about that as well.
So let's just say you've got a lot of frequent flyer miles.
We're working on it.
All right, so you mentioned the acronym GNP. Can you tell our audience what that means?
It's good manufacturing practices,
right.
Which is really the direction AEMSA was set out to focus on. We wanted consumer protections through good product stewardship.
Awesome. All right, so Linc, this morning you were part of a panel that was here at the Vape World conference here in Chicago. And specifically, you spoke about the FDA and the fact that they finally got their asses in gear. And anything specific you'd like to address in the fact of, you kind of alluded to the chessboard analogy, which I really thought was great.
Yeah, so people often ask me what, especially over the last several weeks, about what my feelings are about the regulations. And they kind of look at me quizzically when I say I'm excited about it. Not because of what's in the regulations, but just the pure fact that the cloud has been lifted. This industry has been under this cloud of deeming regulations are coming, which has made it hard for companies to figure out how to actually progress their business forward, especially on the manufacturing side. Everything was a guesswork. Well, now that cloud is lifted, and the analogy I used today is that there's now a chessboard in front of us. All the pieces are there. We actually get to play this game as opposed to I'll just flat out say it, the bully who's in the background threatening to beat you up and you have no idea when it's going to come. That it's now actually something that we can affect and we can help push forward or try and pull back, all depending on how much this industry participates as a whole.
So we just got to protect our queen and avoid being checkmated, right?
That's essentially
to keep that analogy going.
Essentially, absolutely it is. And watch out for the rook, which is taxation.
All right. So we could spend a lot of time on the minutia and the details, but one of the things that a lot of people ask me when they're opening up a retail store, is, should I make my own juice? And I have my answer, but I'd love to know your answer, Lou, as far as if someone says, I'm opening up a store and I want to make my own juice, how would you respond to that?
I would encourage them to learn an awful lot. There's a learning curve. It's not a complex learning curve, but it's a very important learning curve. Our standards obviously are posted on our website, and they're available as a guide. For someone who wants to get in the industry, I would encourage them, if they want to open a store, consider carrying some product from some responsible manufacturers. Certainly there are plenty of AEMSA manufacturers that are willing to work with stores and vendors and educate the store owners. That kind of gives an opportunity to be carrying a product that they know is verified and is made professionally in a nice, clean environment. The entire chain of custody has been monitored and verified. AEMSA, we have multiple tiers of verifications that we do in a variety of different ways. But I would encourage a new store owner to educate themselves through the process of interacting with responsible manufacturers first before they just dive in, because there really is considerably more to it than mixing together 4 key ingredients.
Yeah, that's the problem, is we have these so-called people making stuff in their bathtub or in their sinks, and I don't look forward to the day, and hopefully it never will come, where someone gets sick or worse on someone's homemade crap. And next thing you know, we've got one more battle. We already hear enough battles of kids opening up, bottles and ingesting nicotine and what have you. So, Linc, a question for you. So the whole sterility thing, the whole cleanliness thing is obviously really, really important, because I know a lot of the government agencies, whether it be city, state, or Fed, they always say, we don't know what's in it. We don't know what's in it. And so how would you answer that? I mean, obviously we should know what's in it.
As an industry, absolutely, we should know what's in it. And the fact is that we can know 3 of the core ingredients and know those really well. They're simple ingredients. The nicotine, the propylene glycol, the vegetable glycerin, they're all relatively and extensively known what they are. the common misnomer is the fourth, flavoring. Flavorings are incredibly complex. And as an industry, we have to mature to the point where we know exactly what's in every flavor. So it's a brand new industry. We're still going through the maturity curve, but you start to really notice responsible manufacturers are looking at that evolution of really understanding not only what's in their products, but how to assemble them properly. And one of those assembly portions is the sanitary conditions in which it is. Our products are consumables. Just like any food manufacturing that's out there, there are basic cleanliness controls that you have to abide by. You're making something for somebody else to consume. And I believe everybody who is in this industry has a responsibility to meet those basic standards.
I totally agree. So a lot of the ingredients, the raw base ingredients, are in fact not coming from the United States, they're coming from overseas. So is that potentially putting the manufacturers who are using Chinese base flavoring, is that potentially putting them in a liability position?
There is the potential of that. In any good manufacturing area, you qualify your vendors. In any good manufacturing process, you qualify your vendors. And either you qualify them because they've demonstrated they live up to a quality set of standards with the proper documentation over an extended period of time so that they are a trusted vendor, or if you can't, you test them, which means third-party analysis testing, randomized quality control and surveillance programs, so that you do understand what it is. Because ultimately, as the manufacturer, you are responsible for the product that you make. And if you're not doing those things, you're putting your fate in somebody else's hands.
Agreed. So a question for you, Lou. So what was your background that you decided to take it upon yourself to form an organization that did not exist for the controlling of the ingredients that we use? Did this come from any particular motivation?
My motivation was that I smoked for 33 years, and I have not touched a cigarette now in 4 years as a direct result of these products. I became fascinated with the efficacy and the potential for tobacco harm reduction, and I just started self-educating, and I, over time, became more knowledgeable, and the community support structures and online interactivity gave me an opportunity to interact with more and more people in the community. And at one point, Linc Williams, sitting right next to me, is the director of another project called We Are Vapers, and you can take a look at that project at wearevapers.com. Linc contacted me and said he wanted me to participate in this project. This was long before AEMSA was even a thought. And every time we got together in an event, we sat down to a meal and we had the exact same conversation over and over again. Somebody should set an example. Somebody should.
Why not you?
Put together some kind of standards. And we were at Vape Stock in Florida in June of 2012, having the same conversation over lunch. And that afternoon, Linc went and grabbed a couple manufacturers that he knew well enough to invite to dinner. And we all went out to dinner together, and we came out with the 5 core belief statements, which is really the core foundation on which AEMSA was built. And we're just thrilled to now have, I think we've got 24, 25 manufacturers that are absolutely dedicated to consumer protections and good manufacturing practices and good product stewardship. And we're rocking and rolling. We've been very blessed to be warmly welcomed by the FDA and OMB-OIRA, and now other organizations that are advocating are welcoming the AEMSA message. So we feel very grateful for the opportunities we've had, and we think the message is important.
Excellent. So I'm going to get you both in your DeLorean time machine. We're going to go back to the future.
Well, let me add one more comment to that. Luke, I kind of didn't really hint to it, but Lou and I have extensive experience working with the federal government and the regulatory frameworks. So it just kind of clicked instantly that here's an industry of people who haven't experienced dealing in a regulatory framework and how to put those things together. And it just instantly clicked that we could help build this organization and put it in place and not be like some of the other organizations that we had seen throughout the vaping industry at the time.
Well, I think we all agree that nothing happens arbitrarily or randomly. The fact that you both had a direction towards this and the fact that you both had experience in it and there was a need out there, I mean, that's the components of entrepreneurism. So you guys were in the right place at the right time, and you didn't just talk about it, you actually did it. So back to the...
Well, I'd like to add one more thing too. I mean, obviously Linc is now integrally involved in the industry at a professional level outside of AEMSA and in addition to AEMSA. But when we first started AEMSA and co-founded and launched AEMSA, we were both consumer volunteers. I mean, just unpaid consumer volunteers. I remain in that capacity as president of AEMSA, but for the first year and a half that we were working on AEMSA, and even before that with We Are Vapers, Linc's been very dedicated to putting his own time and life and resources into advocating for this industry and for tobacco harm reduction. And we need more people to get involved, and we need more of a collective voice. So having consumers get involved is really very valuable and very important.
Well, I agree 100%. You know, I always tell people that this is going to be a grassroots movement of the people who are resisting and objecting to government, whether it be small, medium, or large, that are infringing upon our rights to do whatever we want to do, and it's not bothering other people. So a little bit of deja vu here. So we're going to get into our DeLorean time machine, and we're going to zip forward 5 years. So here we are in 2014. So in 2019, where will the space have been? Will the FDA finally come out with something that is in place? Or if you were to kind of speculate, and I'm not going to hold you to it, even though it is being recorded, what will the space look like in 5 years?
So in 5 years, we will have just gotten a recent guidance released by the FDA that is approximately 60% complete, and the industry can kind of start to put together what the real future is.
Wow.
When we look at these frameworks, we can look at FDA's history and other things. Dietary supplements, it took them over 10 years to get a workable set of manufacturing guidance out with it. Tobacco, they've had it for 7 years and they still don't have it working. So I think in 5 years from now, we're just beginning to really see what the industry is going to look like.
Awesome. Lou?
I would support pretty much everything that Linc's saying. I think the time frame is very tough to gauge. The things that I know that I'm very concerned and hope to see, I want to see the continuum of risk readily acknowledged in regulation and throughout our society. I mean, there's no doubt it's already been medically and scientifically verified that this is a harm reduction alternative to smoking, and we need to reinforce that with more science, and we need it to be recognized in the regulation. I'd like to see that harm reduction, that continuum of risk recognized in the medical insurance industry. I'd like to see the e-liquid industry, which I believe is really the future of electronic cigarettes, get down to a centralized set of standards that is no longer subjective, because the regulatory process, even the pre-market applications and the substantial equivalence factors, are completely subjective at this point. There's no way for a manufacturer to fill out a pre-market application and know whether or not they've comprehensively completed the application, because the application process is so subjective. But there are certain baselines that we know we've already established are easily verifiable with oversight in a consistent basis. Certificates of analysis on every batch of incoming nicotine is a no-brainer. We've been doing it for a year and a half. All of our members satisfy it every single batch, and we've already worked with the subject matter experts to refine specific impurity limitations at a very, very tight margin. So that's an easy given. Professional level evidentiary documentation, titrations at working level, and calibrated equipment that's maintained, like NIST, ASTM for measuring, and then quality assurance verifications of analysis of the final product. USP certified diluents with evidentiary documentation. So just between the evidentiary documentation or certificates of analysis on the nicotine quality, verifying the content of the nicotine, and making sure that we've got evidentiary documentation verifying USP certified diluents through the entire chain of custody, that covers a huge chunk of easy verifiable oversight into e-liquid manufacturing.
Proven standards.
And we already have extensive resources and subject matter experts working extensively towards refining any potential issues with flavoring. And one possible solution to that may just be coming up with an industry-specific supply chain, because these potential ingredients or compounds that could be in flavorings, and flavorings are a very complicated industry, they can be excluded. They don't have to be in the manufacturing process. We just need to make sure that we understand from a scientific point of view where they come from, and how to make sure that they stay out. And we're not seeing it across the board in every flavoring. It's limited flavors that are showing the existence or potential for concern. But the reality is that food flavorings have always been manufactured for ingestion via digestion, and this is inhalation.
Yeah,
so
totally
it brings in some new considerations that have never been part of that manufacturing supply chain. So it's not that complicated. It's just a matter of working through the science of it and creating a supply chain of flavorings that are industry specific and meet a level of standards.
Excellent. All right, so let's have a call to action. What do you want our listeners to do? Obviously, we'd like them to get a hold of you and get your newsletters or anything else like that. Would that be appropriate?
Well, we are open to communication from the public and the consumers, but the reality is AEMSA is in its current structure, and we are actively looking at various alternatives to expand our interaction. But we are a professional trade association right now for e-liquid manufacturers. What I encourage people to do is look at the different organizations that are out there. We have some very, very good organizations that are starting to work together more and more closely. We need a unified voice in this industry going forward. And I think that the first step in that is to consolidate into the organizations which resonate with people individually, whether they be vendors, manufacturers, consumers. As we consolidate down and bring those many, many voices into a few organizational voices, then those organizations can start working a little bit more closely together to come up with a more unified voice.
Nice.
So I would say get involved, remain professional, participate in the public comment process with the FDA in a professional capacity. There are plenty of people to help and guide and educate people in that direction, but get involved, participate in organizations, volunteer your time, and let's find ways to continue to funnel our communal voice into an industry voice.
Excellent. All right, so Lou Ritter, Linc Williams, thank you so much for joining us on Vape News Radio. Got a lot of information in just under 19 minutes, so hopefully everyone will have a chance to digest this, but look forward to catching up with you 5 years from now.
I appreciate it.
We'll look forward to talking to you then.
All right, so listen, I hope you enjoyed that, and as much as we don't necessarily like to deal with regulations and restrictions and all that kind of bullshit, I mean, the truth is that this is not an industry run by cowboys anymore, guys. This is an industry that is going to be very competitive, It's going to be highly regulated. Again, the FDA deeming regulations are still very much at their initial stages. Nothing's going to happen in 2014. That you can pretty much count on. 2015, we don't really know. So, again, it's really important to stay on top of things. And, again, for those of you who are new to the show, we are now on Stitcher, which is a directory of different podcasts. We are getting on iTunes. By the time you hear this, we should be on iTunes. So if you're an Apple guy, if you're an Android guy, it really doesn't matter. So, and again, I want your questions. If you have a question that specifically you want answered on the radio, we're going to pick a question of the week, and whoever gets picked is going to get a free copy of either Vape News Magazine or a free copy of my ebook, which is going to be called Vapepreneur. So again, if you'd like to advertise with us, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you get a hold of us at norm@vapementors.com, and that about wraps up this show. Do not go away. Actually, go away. And we're going to be back with show number 6 in a couple of weeks, so thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.